Kittl has become my go-to design platform for my print-on-demand designs, but since the last time I did a tutorial on Kittl, it has changed, and for the better, significantly. So today we're gonna do a full walkthrough on how to use Kittl, whether you are a brand new beginner or maybe you've been using Kittl for a while, because I'm gonna show you some advanced tips that I use to create my designs, to create my mockups, to creating all of my marketing. Pretty much any graphic type that I need for my business is made on Kittl. But first, you might be wondering, why do I use Kittl over other design platforms? Well, first of all, it has a massive library of different templates that I can start with. Two, it can do multiple size artboards all in one file. So I can have my social media sizes, I can have my design in there, I can have my mockups in there. It also has a bunch of tools built in so that you can use pretty much every AI model out there right within Kittl. You can access ChatGPT images, you can access ChatGPT chat, you can access Nano Banana, you can access Seedream, any different AI platform that you might have to pay for elsewhere or pay for them all individually, you get within your Kittl subscription. So let's get into it. The first thing when you come on over to Kittl, you can either start from templates. So here is where you can select things like videos if you're looking to create a video today, or you can start with a different graphic design if you are looking to create an original print-on-demand design. And again, there are tons of different things. If you want to access some Etsy listing videos, if you want things like AI prompt packs, if you want things like design bundles, they are all here. But typically when I am starting from either a graphic design template, or I am just starting from scratch, in which you can hit new project here. And you can either set the file size you're looking for. So at the size here, you're gonna see settings, 1200 by 1200, that's the standard. But you can also select a bunch of pre-built sizes here. So if you're creating a t-shirt, you can click on t-shirt. If you're creating a Facebook post, if you're looking for social, marketing, but often because I do print on demand, I am starting with print on demand. And because I use Printify, the size is actually the popular size here, the 4200 by 4800. And I'm just going to hit create. But if you did start from a template, one of the first things that you should do is resize that template. So if I actually did start from a template here, if I click on the artboard name, that is the little gray text that is right above your box here, that is called your artboard. And I can see under my artboard size right here that this is actually 720 pixels by 720, which is pretty small. If I'm trying to print this, it's not going to be a good file size. It is way too small. So I'm gonna expand this to 4200 by 4800. And you can see my box is a whole lot bigger now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag out my cursor so that this little blue box appears, and that selects everything in my artboard. And I'm just going to make it larger so that it fits up my print size here. So one thing that you can do right within Kittl is go ahead and change up all of this. Say I want to create a pickleball version of this design. I could go ahead and just start changing all of this. So I can change this to pickleball club here, maybe make this smaller so it fits. If sometimes this doesn't quite fit, all you have to do is I'm going to actually just go to the side here, and this curve here is called an arch, and I'm just going to reset it by clicking on this and then hitting transform again, going to arch, and then you can just change the sizing. So if you ever have issue with changing text and then it messes up a transition or a transformation here, just redo it and it'll fit in the whole word. And now I want to change these here. These are still tennis rackets. So one thing that I can do is either go to find similar, and that's going to bring up illustrations that are similar to this one here. So maybe I can find the racket that I'm looking for, or if I want to just switch these out, or under illustrations, which is an option right here on the left side menu, I'm going to type in pickleball. And then if I find one that I want to replace this with, because I have these two tennis rackets selected, I can hit the button replace, and it's going to replace that image that I had selected with the image here, and it's going to apply the different colors as well. You can see if I didn't do this, it actually comes in as black, but because I hit replace, it's trying to pull in the same type of kind of visual elements of this design, so it still fits into my design here. I can go ahead and just move this around. Maybe I kind of want it in a similar fashion that the tennis rackets were. So this one I'm gonna have to build out a little bit more manually. So I have one side and I'm gonna hit either Command Copy and Command Paste to copy and paste this, or you can just hit right click and then you can copy and paste as a PNG. There we go. I just had to hit copy and paste. And then I'm going to just move this one over here. And there we go. One thing you might notice is now that our ball is hidden. One thing that you can do within Kittl that is going to be very helpful, especially if you start having a complicated design, is layers. So that is this little square button at the very bottom of the left side menu. And if you open up my artboard here, you can see all of the different elements that are in my design. So I can find the ball here, so round ball illustration, and I'm just gonna grab it and move it upwards because that starts bringing it to a closer to the front of my design. So these are all different layers, and the farther down they are, the more in the background this image is. So let's keep moving this upwards. There we go. Now I have the ball right here on top, and I can keep just playing around with the different layers if I want things to be moved. Another option too is if you want to do this quicker, you can right click this and you'll see things like bring to front, send to the back. So that means I'm going to send it to the very bottom of all of my different layers, or I can right click and then bring it to the front or send it backwards. But again, as you get more complicated than just using these layers here on the side and using the layers panel is going to make it a lot easier. If you want to select a lot of images at once or a lot of parts of layers, you can just hit Shift on your keyboard and you can see as you start hitting more items, more of your layers are selected. So now when I actually move them, all of them move together. And if I want to combine them so that these always move together, I can right click on this and then I can hit group. And now these all count as one image together. I can ungroup it later, but sometimes you might want things to group because they're just too hard to select. And right now you just want them all together as one kind of movable element together. If I have text, number one, you can add text just by hitting the T at the bottom here or hitting T on your keyboard as well. Or you can just go ahead and edit the existing text that you have in here. Say, for example, I have this match set game one here, or maybe let's do this pickleball club one up here. You can change things like the text style. You can add things like down here, you can center the text. We have the different transformation, so you can play with this if I want this to have a rise, and then you can move the curve as well to play with the different kind of transformations that you can do with text. You can do things like text shadow, for example. And the one that I use this for the most is I actually use, I believe it's this one here. This one is the third one here, and I just set the offset to 0, and then I increase the outline width, and you can see that this adds an outline to my text. So if I wanted a red outline or so just remember it is the third one here. I don't think it has, it's called block shadow, the third one here, and then just change the offset to 0 unless you want to have this offset. And then you can just expand the outline width if you want to add an outline to any of the text in your design. You can also add textures to your design. And to do that, what you have to do is select the artboard name, which is again, the little text at the very top corner of your design here. And then at the side, you're gonna see this thing. It kind of looks like a bunch of halftone dots. And once you open it, it's called textures. And what you can do is try to play with the different textures here, but to really set them in a way that you can save them and actually use them, what I do is I select the grunge texture. And then on the right side menu under here, I scroll down to textures. I change it from color burn to alpha mask. And you can see this kind of knocks out the texture, which I think is usually more what a texture is used for. So I always make sure that I'm using the alpha mask when I set a texture. And then I go to mask texture. And what that does is it makes sure it only applies that texture to the graphics on your artboard. Otherwise, if you save it, then the whole square is going to have a texture, which is going to look weird when printed, versus if you mask the texture, it is much better for a graphic design and to save this as a PNG file with transparent background. Now, one thing that I commonly use Kittl for is to create a bunch of variations variations of a design so that I can apply this to different niches. So right now, this is for the pickleball club. This is a pickleball version of the design, but maybe I want to make a golf version. Instead of recreating the design, I'm going to copy this artboard. You can either build an artboard at the bottom here by clicking on this little A. So this is the bottom menu, the second one here. And then you can drag out an artboard. So you can restart and then you can resize it. But what I more commonly do is I grab the artboard that I'm working with. I hit Option on my keyboard. It might be different if you are using Windows. I'm using a Mac, but when I drag this out, you can see I've made an exact replica of my design here. And I can call this one, if I'm saying, let's do this one, a golf one. I'm just gonna double click the artboard name here. Golf design. Oh. And now I can make a golf version by doing all the edits I showed you, or you can use AI to do this a whole lot faster. So what you can do is you can click on, again, your artboard name. It's the name at the top. And we're going to hit the button AI image board. And then we're going to create a prompt. And I'm going to do recreate this as a golf version. And for this, I'm usually test between using ChatGPT Image 2 or Nano Banana 2. ChatGPT usually makes designs look a little bit better for graphic design, while Nano Banana is usually more literal. So usually when I'm editing a design like this, I'll usually try both. Usually I'm using ChatGPT if I'm creating a brand new image or a brand new graphic design all together. And Nano Banana I use more for editing existing photos, but I will show you more use cases for both of them. But they're pretty cheap to create, so let's try actually doing both and seeing what this gives us. So right here, we're gonna use the Nano Banana and we're gonna hit generate. And while that goes, I'm going to do that again. I'm gonna go back to this, hit AI image board. I'm gonna paste that, recreate this as a golf version, and let's see what we get when we do the ChatGPT image 2 and hit generate. And we can see here that I'm surprised the Nano Banana one gave us a better version here. The ChatGPT one changed all the imagery to golf, but not the text. So this one was actually, ChatGPT was a little bit more literal here. So usually I do find if I am creating an exact replica of a design, Nano Banana does do the best. But again, if I am creating something where I want a little bit more creative liberty from the AI, then I do find ChatGPT does give me a better result, especially if perhaps I'm trying to create a graphic design from complete scratch, which you can do right in Kittl as well. If you wanted to just create an image right at the bottom here, as long as you don't have any artboard selected, you can go here and just type in a prompt that you want for a design, use ChatGPT, and then you can create a design right from scratch. Once you are happy with the design, what you have to do is you can't really edit an AI image board. So you're going to go to the image board that you want to use and you're going to hit the drop down here. And it used to be called flatten. They've actually changed it to convert to image. So now I have an image that I can actually make edits on, and you can either keep this all in here. So sometimes I like to clean up my artboards, as in when I'm happy with a design, I will just go ahead and clean up a lot of the boards here. So I don't really need this reference photo here. I want to move this to an artboard, or you can just start a brand new artboard to put your image on. Now what I can do, because I can edit this image, I can do things like remove background. I can do things like I can upscale the image as well so that it's higher quality and sharper for when I'm actually printing this. And I can tell that I've removed the background here by if I just click on the artboard name again, and I can just go ahead to color and I can change the color. And by changing this to white or any other color, I can see that I have my AI image cut out here so that I'm able to save this as a PNG file, again, to use for my graphic designs, say within Printify. Another thing you're able to do with the AI image is reference two different artboards. So say, for example, there's a few different use cases in which I use this. Number one, maybe to convert a style into a different style. So say I like this stay kind type of design, but I want to just recreate this boring now design in this fun pink design. What I can do is hold Shift on my keyboard, and I'm gonna hit the name of the artboards on both of these. And now we can see that both of these artboards are selected. Now I'm gonna hit AI image board, and you'll know they're both selected because you'll see them both referenced here, and you'll also see two purple lines here, meaning that they're both connected to this prompt. And I can say something like, change the golf club design to match the pink style of the second reference image. And then I'm going to try this again with ChatGPT. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try with Nano Banana as well. But let's generate this and see what result we get. And now you can see here that I have made it so that this original design is in the style of that second design. And instead of having to go in and change every single element in my design, it's so much faster to just do it with the built-in AI that is right within Kittl. Now I'll show you the different ways that I use this to make mockups. And the first, probably easiest one to do is to use Kittl's built-in mockups. So I have my AI image board right here, which I'm going to select, and you can just hit the button mockup, and we can go ahead and scroll through all of these different mockups that we have available to us. Oh, this one still has a background. So first, probably what I'm gonna do is I want to flatten this, convert to image, remove as a background. And now with the background removed, I've put it on its own artboard. Things are much easier, and a lot of things are only possible when an AI artboard is moved on over to its own artboard. And then if I want to create a mockup, I can go ahead to mockup, select which mockup I want. I am making a shirt, but again, there are so many different built-in mockups in here that you can use, and they actually have gotten a lot better since the last time I looked at them. But I really like this one here. And then I can go ahead and make this bigger. And then to change the color of the shirt, all you have to do is actually go to the artboard and change the color. And you can see that actually changes the color of the mockup. But there are a lot of cases in which the mockups that are built in might not be suitable for you. Maybe you're doing embroidery, maybe you're doing a product that isn't available as a mockup, or maybe you just don't like the mockups that are available. Well, the first thing that I do is I go grab my mockup right from Printify so that I know I am using the exact photo that I need of my product, because if you're using Etsy especially, they want to make sure that the product that you are using as your main Etsy photo is the exact product that you are selling. And to make sure you're doing that, all you have to do is bring this on over to Printify, and then you go ahead and just save the image there. So for this one, I'm going to click on, again, the artboard name of the product or the artboard that I want to save. If you save without having an artboard selected, it saves all of your artboards versus I just want this one. And then beside this share button, I'm gonna click this export. Then in Printify or Printful, or maybe you just create your own version of this, whether you use Printify or not, we're just trying to get a photo of our design on the product that we're actually going to be selling. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to preview, and I'm just going to save an image of the actual product that I'm selling here. So let's go ahead and save this one. There we go. Then I hit A on my keyboard to open up a brand new artboard again. And then I went to my uploads, which you can do at the left side here, or you can just drag in your file from your browser on over to just your Kittl file here, and it'll upload. And then you're going to bring it onto here. And then what we can do is two options: create a mockup from scratch by again hitting AI image board, and I'm gonna say put this shirt laying on grass at a golf court, realistic. You can also hit this enhance prompt button here, which gives a little bit more information to the prompt here to just give it more information. So a lot of times I'll just use this enhance prompt button, and then I'm gonna go and I'm actually going to use the Nano Banana one for this because it's good at realistic imagery. And then let's generate. And then you can get different designs like this. You can get more specific. You can play with design. And if you don't like the result, you can just hit regenerate. This one I probably would. It's not exactly straight, but the better option that I find is using the double artboard method to have a reference photo. So say you have an existing mockup, you have a photo of yourself, you have another photo that you like to use for your designs. What you can do is select the artboard with the reference photo. You can select your second photo. We're going to go to AI image board and put something like make her wearing this shirt. And for this, again, I'm going to use Nano Banana, and then I'm going to hit generate. I also included a secondary prompt asking it to zoom out. So I said zoom out and make her wearing this shirt. That way it wasn't cut off. And this way you can get a lot more specific to a mockup that you were trying to create. Another thing that you can do right within Kittl without ever even having to leave the platform is create videos that you can use on Etsy, on social media, on your Facebook ads, or wherever you need video content. And all you have to do is go to one of your images. The only thing to keep in mind is it cannot legally do faces. So I usually use either a mockup like this one, or you use one like this where perhaps you don't have the face in in it. And you're going to click, again, the artboard name, go to AI video board. And then down here, we can change this. Usually I just do this sizing here. I make this smaller because they make it massive. And then what you can do is I always make sure I'm using CDance 2.0. That's the one that's given me the best results. So if you need a quick recap, the 3 AI things that I use in Kittl are always ChatGPT 2, Nano Banana, or CDance 2. Just keep it simple. Even though there's so many different options right within Kittl, those are the ones that I pretty much exclusively use. And then you can go ahead and change the length as well. And then you can add sound with audio, without audio. I have found if you want it to say text or you want a girl talking, it generally works fine, but then there's just some words that just don't really come out. So you do have to keep that in mind. And then you can do things like vapor, handpick, maybe rotating object. So there's a few built-in things here, but I actually like to use ChatGPT, or you can use Claude or wherever you use, and you can just have that write a very kind of detailed prompt for you. So if you don't pay for Claude or you don't pay for ChatGPT, Kittl actually has a built-in one right within. Before I do that, I have to do what we talked about earlier, and I actually have to convert it to image. Again, things don't really work out when it's staying within the AI mockup right here. So I did what I usually do, convert to image, and then I'm going to put it in an artboard, hit A on my keyboard. I'm just going to drag it out to this size. And now what I'm going to do is hit right click. I'm going to hit use in chat, and that opens up ChatGPT, or you can just go click at the bottom here. Again, just scroll on the left side of the screen here, scroll to the bottom, and there's this chat button. So you don't need to reference an image, but I'm going to say, using this image, help me write out a detailed, let's do a 10-second UGC video to showcase the design. And then you can get either more specific with this. I do have a full YouTube video on creating UGC ads. It's another long one. So if you want to create a more difficult UGC ad, go check that out. But using this, I'm just going to send this. And then we get all of our shots in here. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to do what we previously did. Go to AI video board, change this. I asked for a 10-second one, so I'm going to change it to 10 seconds. Make sure we're using CDance. I'm going to go with audio, and I'm going to paste this in here and go ahead and check all of this and rewrite it if you want to make some changes. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to hit generate. And it is going to take a while to load the video. And keep in mind, doing videos does eat up a lot of tokens. You do have a limited amount of AI tokens that you can use every month on Kittl, depending on your plan. And everything you do takes a certain amount of tokens. And it will say when you're like creating something, you can see at the bottom here, this one costs 35 tokens per second of video created. And this is the result.
Meet your new favorite tea. Perfect for a day out. Style it your way. Comfort meets style. Get yours today.
And I have been looking for UGC ads, which is user-generated content like this, for a long time. And this is the most realistic AI version that I have ever been able to get, is with using this CDance right within Kittl, and it's already baked into your Kittl plan. So again, you can go from creating a design to creating variations of the design to applying that design to different trends, and then to creating all of your different mock-up photos, and then to creating your video, all within one artboard. And if you're like me, because you do everything in one artboard, your artboards get extremely messy. So quick tip, just remember to clean stuff up. I get rid of the AI image artboards, and I just keep the artboards and the different files that I need, or you can just keep them a mess like all of mine are. So this video today, do a big focus on all the new AI tools, because those have been the massive changes from last year's Kittl, or the Kittl maybe that you knew 2 years ago, to the Kittl today. If you wanted the further breakdown on Kittl on how to do text and how to use the images and the non-AI tools, I do have an older Kittl tutorial, which is still very, very relevant today, because today's was the focus on all of the new tools, including the old tools as well. But every button that I use today is pretty much what I use. There are some other tools in Kittl that personally I just don't use on a day-to-day basis, or really ever, like the pen tool, like the combine elements or the combine kind of different circles tool, which I do talk about in my other tutorials. And if you are more interested in even further breakdowns on Kittl, I have so many of the different AI tutorials also live on my channel as well. And if you did learn anything from this, if you could please drop a like and subscribe, that would help so much. And if I talked a little fast, sorry guys, I have a certain amount of time to film these, so you can go ahead and slow down this channel or just go back. I will add it in chapters to make sure that you can find different sections and rewatch them. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.